The onset of warmer weather brings with it an increase in bird infestations that can be invasive to construction and commercial properties. Joining us today to discuss bird management strategies is Ian Rowsby, a bird division sales manager with Rentokil North America, the nation's largest bird control company. Ian, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And let's start off our conversation by discussing some of the more common occurrences caused by bird infestations of construction sites and completed buildings. And I'd like to get your comment about whether developers and owners are paying more attention to this problem lately.
So some of the common problems that we have is obviously things like pigeons and swallows and various different birds. When they build their nests on these buildings, they can build up a massive amount of droppings. Pigeons literally nest in their own droppings. So you can imagine the disease factors there. There's over 60 different diseases carried by birds. So it can be a real problem for that construction company and also for the new owner of the building. The other one that people that get from birds that people don't always think about is parasites. So there's a couple of different parasites. There's bird mites, which are very common. And there's also a thing called bat bugs that look almost like a bed bug. Same problem, they get brought in by the bird. If the exclusion is not done properly and you don't get rid of those birds, those parasites, can go looking for a new blood meal and go inside buildings. So that can also be a big problem. So disease and pests are one of the major issues there.
Mm-hmm. Is it an issue that the owners and developers are actively looking to solve or remediate?
No, I don't. I think some people are doing it on buildings. Like right now, we're doing a couple of schools where they're being very proactive about that, which is totally awesome. And it's going to work a lot better if you do it before the actual infestation. You're going to have much better results and you're going to spend less money. So some people are, but there are still a lot of buildings. We see them being built with flat areas that are just perfect for pigeons. And I take one look at it, and I'm like, yep, you're going to have a problem in a few months here. So yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about some of the more effective bird management technologies in use for construction and facilities maintenance.
Yeah, so, it still goes back a lot of times to the products that are very common. So things like bird netting. I mean, bird netting is bar none the best product. It 100% excludes, you're putting a barrier there, so you're completely stopping the birds. If the company you're working with is doing it properly, they can offer you a guarantee that the birds are not going to get through there because it's going to be sealing it in. So it's still the best product. But there are some new things out there. There's things like the shock track system, which is a flat rubberized track, very low profile, comes in 7 different colors, so you can match it to the building. What that does is the bird comes in, tries to land on the edge of the building, and it gets a mild electrical shock. Not going to kill it, not going to hurt it, but it obviously changes its behavior because it thinks of that ledge as being painful, so it's going to avoid it. Again, that's a completely low profile product, so the owner of the building can't even see it. And you can keep those aesthetics looking good. And then there's still all those usual products that we've been using for many years, things like bird spikes, which is a great product, but it's visible and it doesn't work in certain areas like nesting situations. So you do definitely have to tailor it to the specific situation. But yeah, there's still a lot of great products. And then there's some new ones coming out, things like there's a product called optical gel, which is a small puck that has material in it that's repellent to birds. So yeah, lots of solutions out there for us right now.
You also mentioned in our conversations before this about lasers. Is that something that's catching on?
Yes, in the right situations, the lasers are awesome. So work really well on top of roofs, for example. So when you get seagulls coming in and they'll start nesting on top of a large flat open roof, like a warehouse or a factory. And we have the lasers deployed. They're automatic, so they can be controlled from the ground with a phone app. And we basically are just doing these big beams going all over the roof, and it scares the birds off. And we're having really good success with using the lasers. So it's just another tool in our toolbox.
Mm-hmm. We've done some reporting about builders that have used fritted windows to prevent birds from colliding into buildings, but there's certainly a cost involved with that. And talk a little bit about, how developers and owners should factor in cost for bird management when they're thinking about this.
Yeah. So, obviously there's a few things there. I mean, if you're going to be close to the ocean, you're going to definitely need to build in some costs because you're going to get seagulls. So you do need to think about where the building's going to be or where the construction is going to be. If you're in the southwest, for example, you're going to get things like mud swallows, which will build mud nests, cause a lot of problems. So it is quite, dependent on the area you're in. And you should obviously be factoring in certain controls if you're in one of those areas with a type of bird. There is a ton of information out there on that. The manufacturers like Bird Begone and Bird Barrier both do a very good job of that, of educating the customer on what to use on their buildings. They can also reach out to their bird control provider. People like us can happily give you information for the building and what to use on there to be most effective.
Mm. I was thinking when I first got wind of this conversation that climate change may be a factor in bird management. Is that affecting the bird migration patterns to any extent that it's affecting buildings these days?
Yeah, so there's a couple of interesting things going on with that. So, for example, geese, Canada geese, they used to migrate, so you'd always get time off where they'd go, go north or go south. I'm not doing that anymore. We're seeing a lot of them are staying in place, so you don't see that big V pattern as much as they fly over. So things like golf courses and commercial buildings that have nice ornate lawns and ponds and things have a constant problem with geese year round. So
My
yeah,
local Walmart has that problem right now.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I was just in a jail where they had a major goose problem because the geese are just living there and they're chasing the prisoners around. It's hilarious, but it's a big problem because there's so much poop. So yeah, it's fun times in bird world.
Speaking of bird world, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you what your company's most unusual issue or problem was and what was the solution?
Yeah, actually, that one's a good one. Yeah, the solution's going to be we're going to have to do a lot of behavioral changes because the prisoners were actually putting water out there for the geese, so making the problem worse and then complaining about it. So what we're going to be doing is there are products we can put on the grass so we can safely remove the food source, which is the grass, because we make it essentially unpalatable. So put that down. We'll put some like decoys. So we do things like coyote decoys, and we do a bunch of different things, keep them away so they stop biting the prisoners, and hopefully that should be effective for them.
Hmm. Ian Rowsby of Rentokil, thanks for joining us today and sharing your insights.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And this is John Caulfield from Building Design and Construction signing off. Thank you.